Welcome to the Live Life Well podcast for busy women with me, Joanne Bibby. I hope this is a place where you'll find encouragement, inspiration and community to live life well, body, mind and soul. Well, hello and welcome to this episode of the Live Life Well podcast for busy women. I hope you're well. This is our second episode of 2023, so I hope you've had a good January and you still feel on track with your goals for the year. I find as we come to the end of January, it's a really good time just to review those goals and get back on track. Don't worry if you've fallen off, it's absolutely fine, we all do. But it's just good at the end of the month to have a little check-in, think, how do I want to feel at the end of this year? What do I need to do to get there? So this is just a little reminder to do that in the next week or two. And I can't believe on the podcast, we're on our 18th episode, I think, and we've not actually talked much about movement and exercise, which is so important, but can also be a real challenge as busy women. I know for myself, it's definitely one of my pillars of health, which includes like nutrition, getting enough water, getting enough sleep and rest, self-care, all those important things. But we've not really talked about it yet, but we have one of the best people I could think of on today to talk about it and to inspire us all. So we've got Kerry Riley with us today, who's a wellbeing practitioner and a certified fitness and wellness coach, a fitness instructor, and just a very inspiring person to be around. If you're not inspired to move your body, I think you will be after you listen to this episode. So Kerry, have I missed anything out? Please say hello and introduce yourself and tell me if I missed anything.
Thank you, Jo. That was an amazing introduction. As you say, I run a business called Kerry Riley Wellness, nice and simple. So I am a fitness, mental health and business coach. I teach anywhere from 3-year-olds upwards to adults. I run wellness and meditation workshops. I coach businesses and I coach one-to-one. I am a motivational speaker, so you'll find me at different events throughout the country. And mum of 2.
That's
so lots.
That is important. The mum bit is very important. I don't really know how you do it all, but you do it very well. So Kerry, before we really get stuck into our topic for today and talking about movement and why that's so important, can you just tell me what living life well means to you?
Yeah. So for me, I don't see it as living life well. I just see it as living life. I adopt everything into my daily routine. In terms of making sure that I exercise, making sure that I eat well, making sure that I drink well, and I incorporate it into everything. So with the kids, we have competitions on who can drink water the most or who can get up and move the most, who can do the most steps. My 11-year-old comes home from school and he's got his watch on and he'll come up to me and go, right, Mummy, what steps are you on? How many have you done? And he'll run into my husband and say the same thing. So it's kind of a lifestyle rather than something that we try and incorporate kind of on a Monday or on a Wednesday or on a Thursday. It's something that we do every day. And that's how we stick to our goals, is that we share them as a family. We'll motivate each other. Now, that doesn't mean that we sometimes, miss out on steps or miss out on doing an exercise. We live life as a family, and if something works for us, then it works. If it doesn't one day, then it doesn't, and we don't beat ourselves up about it. We just incorporate other stuff, fun stuff that can help us get to where we want to be.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it's not something you add on to your life, it's part of your life.
Yeah.
And I love how you make it fun for the kids too and set that example. I think that's so important. Like, I've got a few clients that are doing a nutrition reset with me now, and they're all been amazed by how much it's changed like their kids' like eating habits and their husband's eating habits. And I just really celebrate them for that, because it's so important that we take care of ourselves first for ourselves, but also think about the example that we're setting and teaching our kids to have healthy habits and that they're worth taking care of too. So that's great how you just make it part of your life and make it fun as well. That's really important too, isn't it?
Yeah, my 11-year-old has come up for the past, I think it was during lockdown that we did it first, was the sugar-free February. And it was his idea. I can't remember where he'd seen it. I don't know whether he'd seen an advertisement for it, but it was like, right, we're going to do sugar-free February, and then we went through kind of everything that was on the list, and it was kind of like, oh, that's everything. So we kind of, the first time we did it, we narrowed it down to just natural fruits that you could have. So we could serve all the fruit that he wants and the yogurts, etc. And then as the years have gone by, he's instigated doing it every year, which is absolutely brilliant for us, for him to come up with that, right, this is what we're going to do. And if a child's got that mindset at the age of 11, to carry that through into adulthood is just going to be absolutely amazing for him.
Yeah, that's amazing that he did it once and he wanted to do it again when he realised how much sugar and everything. That's very impressive. So you're obviously teaching him well to think about how he wants to live his life, which is fantastic. He'll be a leader and world changer.
Yes, he will.
Oh, great. So can you just tell us a bit about your journey, about how you got into sort of fitness and wellness coaching, why that's been important to you and what sort of difference it's made to your well-being?
Yeah, okay. So my journey actually started probably about 11 years ago. I fell pregnant with Finton, and my husband asked me to marry him. So two big life changes. So one, I wanted to look nice for my wedding, as you know, everybody does when they decide to get married. You want to look nice on your wedding day. And I wanted to be that good example for Finn. We weren't a massive fitness couple. We went for walks with the dog, but we didn't really do lots of exercise. So we decided together that we were going to, every Monday, that was going to be kind of our exercise time. It was so funny because our living room literally looked like, not obviously the sunshine and the beach, but you know, like the Miami scenes of like when they're on the beach doing all the work. That was our living room on a Monday. Finn was playing on his mat because obviously at this point he was probably 6 months, so he was quite happy just sitting and paying attention to what was going off. And I absolutely fell in love with it. It's one of those things where you do it, and you either love what you're doing or you hate it. And we absolutely fell in love with it. So I had the opportunity, I actually got made redundant from the role that I was in. So I had the opportunity to do a personal training course and a fitness instructor course. And if you know me like you do, Joe, I like to know the ins and outs of everything. So if I'm doing something, I like to know how to do it, what to do, what's the best way to do it, what's the things not to do. So I did that course and that just filled me with absolute passion and joy. And I went on to start my business. I just taught kind of adults at that point. Then I fell in love with actually helping, you know, everybody. As Finn got older, he joined in and he loved it. So I actually went to do my children's qualification, so I can teach children yoga, fitness, and just to see a child's face light up, especially when they do yoga. I actually teach at my daughter's nursery, and she absolutely loves it, and the kids just love, obviously within yoga, when you're teaching children, they're all animal names, so snakes or butterflies, and their face absolutely just lights up when you ask them or when they remember a pose. So I actually absolutely fell in love with that. And then I went on to pre and postnatal. So when I fell pregnant with Arizona, I was like, right, what can I still do? What can't I do? How do I take care of her? How do I take care of myself? So I qualified in that as well. But then lockdown hit, which was a massive no-no for a fitness instructor, unfortunately. And like most people, I probably went into a depression of, oh God, you know, I'm just going to stay in my pajamas all day. I'm not going to exercise. I'm not going to eat properly. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And I think that lasted for about 2 months. And then obviously when it was kind of, you know, this isn't going to change, we need to deal with this. It was right, come on, you know, now's the time. Let's sort ourselves out. So we... Finn absolutely loved Joe Wicks, so we got up every day and we did that with him. Arizona was running around, so she was 2 at that point. She was running around the living room and we were using her as weights, and it was just so much fun, obviously all sensible. But then about a year into lockdown, I developed a hernia in my groin. And what that means is that some of the organs actually come through. They told me that I could still exercise, that it was fine. But then after about 6 months, the pain was just horrendous. It hit so much, and I couldn't lift Arizona up. I couldn't do any classes, and it was just a massive blow. Get quite emotional while I'm talking about it, so
Oh, that's
apologies.
okay. It's understandable.
I had to stop all my classes. I had to stop doing anything that was putting pressure on me. So no weightlifting, no Pilates, no yoga. Obviously, yoga is one of the main things that kind of opens up your hip. So all that had to stop. So going from having a life that was full of exercise and passion and things that we all love to do as a family to not being able to do any of that, it was a whole impact on the whole family. Even to the point where my husband felt uncomfortable doing anything around me because he knew that I was so sad that I couldn't do it.
Sure.
They were absolutely amazing through the whole thing, all of them. My little girl did not understand why I couldn't pick her up, which I think was one of the worst things.
Yeah.
So after about a year of just not being able to do anything, I hit rock bottom, I'm going to say. I don't mind admitting that at all. We all get there at some point or another in life, maybe.
Absolutely.
So I turned to studying, which I absolutely loved. But in terms of what I was able to study and what I wanted to learn about was mental health. You know, why was I going through what I was going through? How could I help myself? What other things could I put in place that could help me? So I did a mental health course, and then as we were coming out of lockdown, I did a workplace wellness course on how we can implement things for people returning back to work. You know, what mental health things could we put in place that could support them? What were the impacts going to be? Because obviously we'd never been through that before and nobody knew what was going to happen at the end of it. Everybody thought that, you know, when the doors opened, everybody was going to be really happy and mental health would go back to how it was. And that's not what happened. And it's still not what happens. People are still worried about going out. People are still worried about being in the office. People are still wearing masks. So I wanted to be able to help those people with that, which was quite difficult. When I speak about it now in front of different audiences, there's still a mix of, you know, people still want to know about wellness. People don't because it's been done and it's over and done with. But I don't think it will ever get to a point where people can't now have that as a strategy within their workplaces. Everybody needs to look after everybody in terms of whether you're a boss or a parent or a mother or a father. It needs to be at the forefront of everybody's minds. So it's been a big journey for me.
Sure.
I'm now coming out the other side. For the past 3 months, I've been exercising and I've been working out as usual, which has been absolutely brilliant for me. The kids have all got involved again. We're now getting into a routine as a family again. And life is good.
Wow, what a roller coaster you've been on, to put it mildly. And it's just amazing to hear your story sort of condensed like that. I've sort of seen snippets of it, but not heard the whole thing from start to finish. And it's so inspiring. And I think a lot of people could relate in terms of having situations when we've worked really hard for something or found something we love, we've invested in it, we've poured ourselves into it, and then something happens that it feels like that's been stolen from us, whether it is an illness or an injury or like a redundancy or a loss, a grief. It takes real courage and strength to work through that and to keep going, to not just give up and be like, oh well, it's out of my control, I've nothing I can do. Like the fact that you stopped and took stock of your situation and thought, what can I still do? Like, what is still in my control? How can I pivot? What new things can I learn that I can still make a difference and do what I'm passionate about? And it's lovely to hear that you are coming full circle and you're getting back to those things you love. And you've also added all these other things that you can come and share. So it's like you've really made good out of a really rubbish situation. But I don't dismiss the courage and the strength that took to keep going. And I think that's really inspiring. And hopefully if people are listening and they're facing a situation like that where they feel that they've lost something really precious, that there's hope.
Yeah, I think just going back to the initial question, you know, why is it so important? I think the thing that some people take for granted is that they can. You know, you can get up and exercise. You can go out for a walk, you can go to an exercise class. And I think as we get older, people think that, that gets taken away from them, and it doesn't have to. My mom is, in her 60s. She still comes to classes. She still asks me advice on, how to do things, what to do. And people need to remember that you can do it. And when that is taken away from you, it is a massive shock. And my son always says to me, if I say to him, are you going to go on the treadmill for half an hour or so? He'll be like, oh. And my response to him is, but you can. If you couldn't, would you want to? And he's like, well, yes. I says, well, there you go. If you could, if it was taken away from you and you want to do it, go and do it, because something might happen. Obviously, I don't say that to him, he's only 11. But in my head, something might happen that you can't do it. So if you have the opportunity to do it in life, then just do it.
Absolutely. Do you have any tips for those of us that aren't early birds or whose mornings are just crazy because maybe we're like a single mom, got to get the kids out to school? Like, how do we fit it into our busy lives in other ways? Any tips for that, Kerry?
Yeah, of course. So I think the main thing is having a goal. So what is it that you want to achieve? Is it that you want to work out in the day? Is it that you want to eat healthy? Is it that you want to get so many steps in the day? And then once you figured out what your goal is, preparing to achieve it, if that makes sense. So for instance, if I know that tomorrow Finn's got football after school, Arizona's got dancing, so I need to be here, there and everywhere, I know that tomorrow I need to carve out, say, 20 minutes of my time during the day to hit my goal. And that's the main thing, is preparing for the next day, or preparing for when you can add that time in. It doesn't have to be hours and hours. And a lot of people have that misconception that, in order to work out, I need a full hour or I need an hour and a half. It's not that. It's simple things like, okay, so today I know that at lunchtime I'm going to work out. So about 11:30, I'll stick my workout gear on, or I'll even, if I'm not doing things like this, I'll even get up and put it on first thing in the morning. Because then that is a constant reminder to me, right, at lunchtime, this is what I'm doing. At lunchtime, I've planned to put this time aside for myself. And making sure that you do it, having things like reminders on your phone or reminders on your laptop if you're on a laptop. Me and my husband are constant reminders of each other. We'll be like, right, who's taking the dog out at lunch so the other one can work out? Or are you classing that as your workout? So for instance, if my steps are quite low, I'll say, right, well, I need to take Tilly out because I need to get my steps in and I've not been outside. So everything that you do during the day, just trying to incorporate that. A next tip is, obviously a massive one for me, is incorporate the family. If you've not got anything going on after, get the weights out, get the yoga mat out. Arizona loves rolling around on that while I'm doing a workout. Or Finn, when he gets home from school, I'll say, right, let's go in the gym and have some time together. And we'll do like little competitions. So who can do a mile the quickest, or who can do the weights the most, and just making it fun. But also taking that time for yourself. It's not selfish, and people tend to think that it is, and it's really not. I know that if, for instance, on a Sunday, the rare occasion that we don't have anything on, my husband and I will say, right, you take the first hour and I'll take the second hour. And we'll take ourselves out of the family area. We'll go either in the garage or we'll go outside, and we'll just spend that hour to ourselves, whether it's working out or just going out in the sunshine and having some time on our own, doing some meditation, whatever it is. And then I know that when I come back, I'm the best version of me. I'm happy with me. I'm concentrating on what they're doing, what they want to do. So just not having that self-doubt about giving yourself that time is a major thing. And then I think the last thing is, when you do lack that motivation, put that discipline in there. One of the things that I talk about a lot in quite a lot of my talks is, when we hit 18, 19, and we've had someone that looks after us, someone that tells us the things that we can do, the things that we can eat, when we exercise, when we get up and get dressed. Nobody tells you at that age that then stops, and you are responsible for parenting yourself. You are responsible for making sure that you eat healthy. You are responsible for making sure that your clothes are ironed, washed. You are responsible for making sure that you exercise. Although my mum still nags me at 42, not about that kind of stuff. And we don't get told that, do we? It's just a culture shock of now you're irresponsible, you're the parent, you need to look after yourself. And I think making that a discipline from an early age is really important. Does that answer
Yeah.
the question?
Oh, yeah, that's really good. It sounds like it's really just about valuing yourself enough to prioritize the habits that are going to support your well-being, and also not allowing your reasons to become an excuse. I think that can be a big thing, as busy women, allowing our busyness or our kids to be our excuse, but actually they can be our motivation to do these things. Like if we're busy, we need to look after ourselves so we can do all the things that we need to do. If we've got kids, well, I know my biggest motivation is being well enough to run about after them and after my grandkids when I'm 80, like staying well enough to be able to feel well for the rest of my life. So it's just switching your mindset, I think, isn't it? Not thinking that they're missing out, but like you said, they're getting the best version of you, which I loved. I loved when you said that. So, Kate, you mentioned before, how important exercise and movement's been to you and looking after your well-being. And even like you mentioned your mum, like she's still working out in her 60s, and that's great. I think it's almost more important as we get older to keep looking after ourselves. Can you just give us a bit of the science? Like we know moving our bodies is good for us, but what are the actual positive effects that movement, exercise has on our physical, mental, emotional health?
Yeah. So obviously from a physical point of view, obviously there's the cosmetic way of things, how we look, how we feel. And a lot of that for me isn't down to how I look. Yes, it's nice to, put on an outfit and look nice. A lot of it is how I feel. So when I'm bloated or when I've got a few more pounds on than I normally have, I feel like sluggish and like I don't really want to go out or I don't want to put on a nice outfit. So how you feel is a massive part of the benefits of it. And I'd give you all a task to do is spend a day exercising and doing your goals and then spend a day not doing them and write down how you feel at the end of both of those days and work out which one you want your life to be. That has been a massive game changer for me, journaling, which I'll talk a bit more about in a second. Obviously, the benefit to your children is what they are seeing from a physical point of view as well, how you are, how happy you are. We all know that obviously when you exercise, that gives you endorphins, and endorphins make you happy. Anybody that's watched Legally Blonde will know that. You don't need me to tell you that. And having something that you're passionate about as well, that makes the physiology in the body just sing and be happy. And I don't want to use the word radiate, but when you do something that you do enjoy, it comes across. Mental health wise, the benefits are absolutely amazing. We all picked, hopefully, something that we enjoyed doing during lockdown, whether it was getting outside more, whether it was spending time with the kids and doing stuff with them. But from a mental health point of view, fitness is, when you do any mental health course at all, the one thing that is pushed in there is physical activity, because it has so much impact on the brain and what you're thinking about, and just switching off as well, having that time to think and focus about something else other than what life is giving you. It can give you a community of people that you never thought you would have. I have an absolute amazing people around me in terms of people that come to classes, people that come to workshops, people that support and encourage not just me, but also those around. And then obviously there's the bad stuff, so the physical stuff that we can get. So when we don't exercise, there's things like obesity, heart rate, blood pressure. These are all things that, unfortunately, as we get older, get worse. From a fragile point of view, our bone density goes down. We get a lot more prone to accidents like falling over. So the more strengthening that we can do within our bodies and within our muscles, the better it makes us for when we get older. Like you've just said, Jo, one of the things that I absolutely love is I jump quite a lot. So being able to jump around on a trampoline and get up that steep hill is absolutely amazing. And the kids love that they have a mum that can go and do that. And I want to be able to do that with them for the next 20 years. Yeah. One thing I haven't mastered yet is the wall at Ninja Warriors, which I will do now I'm on the up and on.
That's impressive.
So yeah, there are loads and loads and loads. And I think it comes down to what benefits do you want to see.
Yeah, that's true. And it's good to have that reminder. Like I need to remind myself of the why for doing it, because it's we know we're meant to, but it's good to remind ourselves, like you're saying, all the amazing benefits that come from moving our bodies and taking care of ourselves. Talking about things like bone density, should we change how we exercise as we get older? Should we do more weight training as we get older, or is it good just to start as young as you can?
Obviously, find something that you enjoy is the major thing. As we get older, things like yoga and strengthening and just walking is one of the, you would not believe how just going for a walk can just move every single muscle within your body. So definitely one of my goals for January was to make sure that I got outside every day, which we're on the 31st, and I just need to go outside today, and I've pushed that. But yes, things that strengthen, things that, move the body. Swimming is an absolute brilliant one. It doesn't have to be an hour in the gym where you're sweating and, you can't move afterwards. It is just about movement and flow within the body.
Yeah, aside from what you're saying, it's much more important, like you say, find something that you enjoy than doing something that you think you should do. We're much more likely to stick to it then, aren't we? And it's just about, getting outside and moving. And there's lots of benefits for our mental health for being outside and getting daylight and vitamin D and things as well, especially in the winter, isn't there? Oh, great. Well, just before I ask you your top tips to finish up, Kate, I'd just like to sort of circle back to where we started from and talking about your journey and how you came up against some challenges with your health. And do you have any advice for people in that situation that maybe love exercise and fitness, but they've come up with some challenges, maybe with their own health, or life's just got crazy, maybe there's been loss or change that's just taken an extra demand on their time or energy and they can't do all the things that they were doing? Do you have any advice in terms of how to manage that as that's happening, and maybe to give them a bit of hope for the future?
I'd say the one bit of hope that I had was nothing lasts forever. I was told that, although I was told when I had my repair done that there's a 1 in 5 chance that it could come back, I had to make the decision as to whether, do I bring my business back and help and support other people, or do I just do the exercise that I can do on a daily basis, which was quite a difficult decision for me, because as much as I love being mum and being there for the kids and being able to do what I need to do, my passionate side and my wanting to help people side takes over, and I have to kind of balance myself in terms of what I can do physically and what I can do mentally. So making sure that, you get the right facts and you come up with a plan of, what you can do. If a plan isn't possible, then finding something else that you love, finding something else that you're passionate about. If it is exercise, what other things could you do? Could you learn about exercise? Could you learn about the physiology of the body? Think of other ways that you can come up with that can give you that happiness, or that feeling that you thought when you did it. Is learning a new skill going to, bring that same joy? Learning about healthy eating or what you can do in the kitchen? Just trying to find that passion somewhere else, and hopefully it won't last forever and you will be able to get back to what it is that you love. But I'd just say getting the right advice and making sure that you don't give in.
Yeah, brilliant. So it's this sort of looking for things, focus on what you can do, isn't it? Not on what you can't in that moment. And that's easy to say, sometimes not easy to do. And there's always maybe a bit of a grief and a loss when things change. But sort of focusing on what is in our control can be really empowering, can't it?
Yeah, and I think giving yourself the time as well. You are allowed to sit and wallow. You are allowed to have a cry and think that it's the end of the world. But you are allowed probably an hour of that, and then you need to slap yourself around the face and get on with it.
An hour, like it.
An hour, that's it.
That's your lot. But I love what you said as well about turning your focus on not just to yourself but to others. And I know that's such a great motivator, because it's great to look after ourselves and do these things for ourselves, and that is really important. That's where it's got to start. But when we think of how we can then impact others, it does keep you motivated and keep you focused, because other people are watching you then, aren't they? It's not just about you, it's about the influence and the impact you're having on other people, your children, your families, your friends, the people that are seeing you making good choices and putting healthy habits in place, then there's like a snowball effect, isn't there? And I know as a nutrition and wellness coach that I have to practice what I preach because people know what I do and they're watching me, and that's great because that helps me stay on track. So I guess there's a real power in sharing your journey, sharing your progress. It's not that you're showing off or wanting attention for it, and there's nothing wrong with that either, but don't hide your light. Like, make positive changes and bring other people with you, and that'll help you stay on track, won't it?
Yeah, I'm a very open person, sometimes maybe too open, and I share everything on social media. And the reason that I do that is, one, because it keeps me accountable.
Yeah.
If I don't post a photo of it, why would I eat it? So I'm very open with the fact that maybe on a Friday night I have a takeaway and a glass of wine or a bottle of wine. I'm very open to the fact that sometimes we just sit in our PJs all day, or I'm very open to the fact that, you know, we exercise all of the time. I share everything with everybody because it keeps me accountable. But then if it inspires one person to just take one thing that I do in a day or one thing that we do as a family and make their lives better, then it's worth it.
Yes, absolutely. And I do find your posts really inspiring. They always make me think, oh, I need to go out for a walk or go for a run. Because Kerry's doing Kerry's been on her bike for an hour this morning already.
Yeah, I do get that a lot. One lady messaged me the other day, and she was, I think I'd put something on Instagram about, you know, sorting out your nighttime routine so you're ready for the next day. So I put, you know, alarm set for 5:30, workout clothes are out. And she messaged me and she was like, 5:30 in the afternoon? You're having a long lie-in? I was like, no, in the morning.
Wow. I think that's something I need to work towards, the 5:30, getting up.
I think the thing is as well, people need to realise is it's not every day. Like this morning, I went to bed last night and I got the most massive headache. And I was like, right, turn the alarm off because my body obviously needs sleep. I need to rest. Yeah. And then I had the nicest wake up this morning. My little girl came in at 7 o'clock and kissed me and went, Mummy, I love you. And if I hadn't have taken that time and stayed in bed and rested, I wouldn't have had that to wake up to. It would have more of like been a scream or a shout or, what are you doing? Get up.
Yeah. And that's such a good point. Like, listening to your body is so important. Like, push it when you can push it, but rest when you need to rest. But also a really good tip of being prepared the day before, like having your goal for the next day, writing it down, putting your diary, having your clothes ready. Then you've got no excuse when you wake up, do you? But also, yes, listen to your body.
Yes. I do want to share with you one tip. Let me just grab it. So so I'm a massive journaler, and this is one of the best things that I have invested in, and it's called the Simple Elephant. And I will just pull it out. So what it does is it's literally like a journal. So you have like your calendar of every day that you can write in, and then at the beginning you have like your monthly. So you can write down like the things that you've done every day. But one of the best things in it, and I found so useful, is at the beginning of every week, normally on a Sunday I'll do this, me and my husband will do this together, and we'll type out our goals for the week. So what do we both want to achieve for next week? And we'll talk about them so we know what each other want to achieve and how we can support each other. And then at the end of the week, we will fill in successes. So what has been successful this week? And then what we can do better. So not what we failed at, but what we can do better. And then we'll fill all that in, and then we'll sit down and we'll go, right, this is what we've been successful at. This is what we can do better next week. And then we'll talk about how we can support each other. So if I say, you know, I didn't eat very healthy last week, me and Sean will put a menu together and be like, right, we're not going to have any chocolate this week, or we're going to make sure we don't have a lot of carbs, or we're going to make sure that we have lots of vegetables, and we'll work together. And I think when you've got that support network, and when you talk to people and tell people about your goals, it makes it so much easier to achieve them. But that is definitely a worth investigating.
What was it called again?
The Simple Elephant.
The Simple Elephant. Oh, that sounds good. I'll maybe pop a link to that in the comments. So yeah, that planning I think is so important. Setting your goals, taking time out of your week and your month to plan for the week and the month ahead. But then having accountability is so helpful. Even yourself, like making that commitment to yourself with your goals is powerful. But then having someone else, whether it's your partner, a friend that also wants to get fitter and healthier, or just finding someone online that has the same values as you, that's really, really helpful and powerful, isn't it? Amazing. Okay, that's been so good. I feel like there's been even more in there than I expected, which was a lot. So so much to dig into and listen back to and put into practice. And even if you just take one thing from today, it's not about putting everything in place all at once, but even if it's just like putting your workout clothes a night out before, or planning your goals for the week, getting up half an hour earlier to have that bit of time to yourself. Just pick one thing, and then once you've got that one thing in place, maybe listen back and put something else in place, because there's so much good stuff in there.
And I think we all get confused by that a lot as well. You know, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to, your goal doesn't have to be to eat healthy, to exercise every day, to get your steps in every day, to go outside every day, to make sure you're up before the kids every day. Just pick one and then work on it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, it's been so good. So what if people want to talk to you more and find out maybe how to work with you, what you've got going on? Do you want to tell us anything you've got coming up that people can plug into, or how they can work with you if they'd like to carry on this conversation?
Yeah, of course. So you can visit kerryrileywellness.co.uk, which is the website. We have lots of new stuff coming up. This Sunday we are doing a goal and vision workshop, which is sold out, which is amazing. And then in February we are starting with the yoga camp. So it's the first yoga camp of the year. So yoga camp is a 6-week boot camp where we have an online class every week. Amazing people are on there. I've got people that have been with me for 5-6 years, and I've got new people, so for all abilities. But you can find me on social as well, so on Instagram or on Facebook. And yeah, just reach out, and I'm happy to chat with anybody, answer any questions, and give any advice that I can.
Oh, brilliant. And I would definitely recommend checking out those classes, because they got me through lockdown, Kerry. Your classes were great. When I couldn't go out anywhere, I was going crazy. Just having that little point of contact with you was great. So, and your classes are fabulous. So definitely follow Kerry for all the inspiration. You see her morning routine, see what she's up to, get all that inspiration and motivation. But Kerry, it's been so great to talk to you. I really appreciate your time. I know you are a busy woman yourself. So thank you for sharing your journey and your experience and your wisdom with us. I know it's going to be really, really helpful. Oh, but before we go, you have to tell us, if it was your last meal on earth, what would you choose? Doesn't have to be healthy.
See, I struggled with this one because I am a massive foodie and I will eat anything. But the two things that I came down with were falafels, which I absolutely love, and steak.
Ooh.
But then I did flip this on its side, and I didn't actually come up with food. I came up with, if it was my last meal ever on earth, I would want to have a family meal.
Oh, so it's not so much about the food, it's about who you're with.
About the company.
But a good steak wouldn't go amiss.
Yes, exactly.
Amazing, Kerry. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you all soon.
Yes, thank you for having me, Jo.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope you've had some inspiration to look after yourself, body, mind and soul, and feel as well as you deserve to do. Please remember to subscribe and share this podcast if it's been helpful for you. And I'll see you again soon with another episode and some more amazing guests. Take care.